Yeah. I come down. That's all. Yeah.
Okay, it is 6:30. I'd like to call a meeting at Morrison City Council to order. Clerk is absent and the city administrator is doing double duty tonight. Would you please call the roll?
Alderman Cruz,
Here.
Alderperson Mahaffey,
Here.
Alderman Schlegel,
Here.
Zeidema,
Here.
Terrell,
Here.
West, here, Tickler,
Here.
Bruckner.
Here.
Have a pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Does anyone intend to record this meeting? Okay, all right. I did not see anyone signed up for public comment unless I missed it. I didn't see it, so. Okay, officers, department heads and committees. You're at the end of the row, so you get to start.
I don't have anything.
Okay. Nate.
I have a couple things. Youth basketball ended last Saturday. We had 86 kids for that. Youth volleyball starts tomorrow night, and we have 60 kids signed up for that. It was a new program we started, so that's good. So we'll start that up tomorrow and junior high. And then I met with Evan from the new gym, Ricky Split. We're gonna partner on a few fitness kind of programs or events this year. We're working on the MERV. If anybody knows what that is, it's like a CrossFit type of workout that honors the fallen soldier that died in Afghanistan. It's a crazy workout, but that's in May. And then we're gonna try to do a football combine, like the NFL combine. We're gonna try to compete against different high schools and have them compete against each other, do like a bench press and 40-yard dash, and vertical jump, that kind of thing. And then a strongman event where we do a push and pull, truck, tire flipping, and maybe like a medicine ball toss, like that. So that's like that.
Right, thank you. There is a treasurer's report in the agenda. Oh, city administrator.
A couple things real quick. As you see, I rotated the setup of the room so everyone can see the TV because we've had a few comments in the past. So if you like it better this way, please let me know. Give me your feedback on the setup. Otherwise, I think this works better until the sun's going down when we're having a meeting during the summertime. So just want to remind everybody in the community that March is coming, and the last week in March, we do our annual cemetery cleanup. This year it's March 25th through the 28th, and not Friday because that is Good Friday. So of course, there's a sign posted that's there year round and has been there a couple of years. We're going to use all media platforms to let everyone know throughout the entire month of March. So what everybody understands that they need to remove their unattached decorations from gravesites so we can clean up the cemetery. So and just a reminder, just a little operational reminder that if you plan on speaking during the meeting, please turn on your mics and use it because I've had a few comments from and not my wife, but other people that listen in that it's hard to hear you guys if you're not speaking through the mic. The owl is not picking up everybody as well. So if you can, either talk louder or try to use the mic more if you will, please. Thank you.
Okay, we have a treasurer's report in the agenda. The treasurer is here. Do you have anything to add? Okay, and would acknowledge the presence of city attorney, Jim Ballinger. Thank you for being here. It's good to see you. Thank you. There are 4 items on the consent agenda. Does anyone wish to remove anything from the consent agenda? Hearing none, would somebody wish to make a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Second.
Right. It's on the table for approval. Is there any discussion of those items? Hearing none, there is money, so we do need a roll call.
Alderpersons Mahaffey,
Yes.
Slagle,
Yes.
Zaidama,
Yes.
Travell,
Yes.
West,
Yes.
Tickler,
Yes.
Bruckner,
Yes.
Cruz.
Yes.
Motion carried.
All right. Consent agenda is approved. For consideration and possible action, starting on your page number 12. The electric service municipal aggregation program was described by City Administrator Melton in his cover memo, which might have gotten by email. Is there a motion to approve? Is there a second?
Second.
All right, the resolution is on the table for discussion. Is there some discussion, questions? Do you want to tee it up?
Just as a reminder, and for maybe the new alderman, this is in the past, we've done this a couple times, 3-year agreements where we utilize the services of Rock River Energy. To some of the other folks, Mike Mudge is his name, nice guy. He bids out our electrical rates for all of our facilities. And basically it's just a bidding process to get the best rate from different suppliers for electricity. And then we sign an agreement. And because those rates can be somewhat time sensitive, rather than calling special meetings, at least the last process, this council approved a resolution authorizing the mayor or his designee to basically work through the process and get the best deal for our city accounts.
So this is for all residents of the city that we're negotiating for. It's not just the city buildings.
Right, but our direct, correct.
So
The
it's
entire
for-
city can piggyback, if you will, on that supplier at that same rate.
Isn't that what they currently do? Everyone within the city limits as electric service?
I'm not sure because each year I think they can opt out of it, so I'm not sure. I'm not sure if everybody is or not.
Right, alternative. My personal experience, when I moved back to town, I was automatically in the negotiated rate, and then if you wanted to opt out, you can. But so if you're a new resident setting up an account, you get automatically into the negotiated rate. And if you wish to choose another provider, you have to physically do that. That's
what
just,
I recall.
yeah, okay, that's
That
speaking
is
from
what I
my
recall
experience.
from experience.
Is there any further discussion? We should do a roll call.
Okay, starting with Alderman Slagle,
Yes.
Zaidama,
Yes.
Travell,
Yes.
West. Yes. Tickler,
Yes.
Bruckner,
Yes.
Cruz. Yeah. Mahaffey.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, your page 14, a loan application signature authorization for our water tower work. And that's what it is. It's an authorization for us to sign this. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Who said?
Is it Bruckner? Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Any questions or discussion? This is just for a signature. I think we can do a voice vote.
Correct.
All those in favor, say aye.
I,
Any opposed? Thank you, motion carries. All right, item 4, the solar system consulting services agreement. Again, City Administrator Melton described that in his cover memo. We have been in discussion with this firm. We have also received some inquiries about providing solar systems, and we thought that using a consultant to find the best deal would be a good thing for Morrison and help leverage what bargaining power we have. There's a presentation starting on your page 15, and then some details starting on your page 19.
So have we looked into any other
Do we need to put this
consulting
vote?
company?
Well, I can give you the backstory if you wish, Mr. Mayor.
This is to enter into a consulting relationship, yes.
So approximately a year ago, I started this process looking for well, educating myself and finding assistance with basically researching using renewable energy, especially at our facilities, starting especially with the wastewater treatment plant, since that's our highest consumer of electricity for the city accounts. It all started off with the energy efficiency study with the extension office, U of I extension office, and from there, I was referred to different contacts, and for the last year, I've been spinning my wheels with talking with different solar companies directly about what we want to do, and they're just interested in selling us something, just selling us a system. So I followed my contacts back and expressed my frustration, and that I was looking more for a consultant, somebody that wasn't necessarily trying to sell us something, but somebody who would work for us and represent us to find the best renewable energy solution for us. And that's when I was put in contact with Satori Enterprises or Satori Energy.
Brian, I got a couple questions, but do we need
Yes.
to vote to bring it to discussion?
Yeah, so we should get it on the
Okay.
table, yeah.
Okay.
So would you move to have this consulting agreement approved, get it on the table for
So
discussion? Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, and I will take a moment just to second what City Administrator Melton has said. I have talked just quite out of the blue to 2 different solar providers. And again, nice people, I'm sure they're good business people, but they want to sell us something, and for the good of the city, we don't know, if we're buying from the best service provider. So this is where, through the extension, Brian got to this point. Okay, Alderman West.
Yeah, I worked with the 100 kilowatt system at SAWK, and so I'm kind of familiar with like kind of the state's navigation of this, and anyway, to me, if we need to get engineering done to assess a site, to put it out for bid, for example, then if these guys get us there, which it seems like they did in terms of the engineering study part of the property we would put it at, which is great, then if that checks that box, that's great, but there's 2 different, they mentioned self-ownership and power purchase. I just want to emphasize, and maybe some people have been soliciting this from you too. That would be us not owning it, right? That would be somebody else owning it, and us leasing for like 25 years, and it's like, let's just not even go down that path, right? This is gonna be our citizen, we're gonna own it, right, if we do it, right?
Well, I mean, that would be your decision.
Yeah,
Which path you took.
right, but I see this as kind of one of the principal decisions they're helping us make, but I will say though, that the state ran out of money. Commonwealth Edison set aside like 500 million a few years ago, and they put it out for grants. I got my solar, a lot of people a couple years ago got solar from that. They ran out of money. They thought it was a 3-year program. It's out of money right now, so we're not gonna get that state big help right now until they make that refund. So we can go forward with conversations, but we're not gonna maximize our state grant money on this right now because they're out of money and they're figuring out how to restock it for projects.
Any further discussion? Yes.
One thing that I would know for communities that I've worked with, that you may want to at least get information on that option. I think all of these comments are well taken. And sometimes companies can come in, and because they can have it privately constructed and then lease back the power to the municipality, there are tax credits available to those private companies that the city would not qualify for as a governmental body. It can substantially reduce the cost to you and have values to that. Not say that's going to happen, but I don't know that I don't know that I would foreclose that yet because those options are out there for something. Depends on the size of the project.
Tell me how they're gonna get paid for it.
Yeah. how much
Yeah.
is it? I didn't see any dollar figure.
I didn't either.
There's
And-
a 5%
Makes me worry.
thing in here,
Yeah,
but I do not understand.
Correct.
well, basically, and we've had this conversations, Tim and I back and forth with Satori too, because I was trying to grasp it myself. It's fairly simple. They get paid. Okay, so once we go through the consulting process and they provide us various solutions, if we approve to move forward with a solution, they would then get paid 5% of that total cost of the project. But the way they get paid, I mean, we still end up paying for it, but the way they get paid is through the awarded contractor through kind of a commission / subcontractor service that's built into the bid notice that goes out, the bid specs that go out. And that's how they get paid.
It says if we
So-
pick one of their lists, right, Brian?
If we
They're
pick
gonna give
one of
us
their projects.
one of a set of bids. If we pick
Right.
one of those, they
Right.
get 5%.
And I asked the question, of course, I said, well, what if we say, no, we're not doing this, we're not doing this now? Then it costs us nothing. Because they only, and it's right in the contract, they only get paid the 5% of the total project once and if approved by the city council.
I'm leery of that. I'll just be honest with you. I would read that contract. If we agree to move into an agreement with them, that makes me nervous, you know, we have to read the contract really thoroughly. It makes me nervous, just carte blanche, sign a contract for these support services,
Kim, since you made the trip.
right?
So,
We have
is this a
turn a
common-
year, yeah.
is this a
Take with a
common-
boat, a plane and a car to get here, right?
Is it, sure, we'll see the bill. Is it common that, is it common that municipalities that otherwise don't have the personnel to navigate like a soul, you know, and spend all this time trying to, that they kind of farm this out, so to speak, to an intermediary like this? They'll help you organize the bids, that will get you approved for the site, get all the engineering done. Is it a common thing as kind of a? Or not? Or not?
I would phrase it as it's not uncommon. I would
Okay.
not call it common.
Okay,
You know, when you look at our part of the state for municipalities that have done solar projects, a lot of those are either they've licensed land to a commercial developer that's putting in a solar array, getting, you know, cheaper power back, they're not fronting the cost of that, or they put solar panels on their public works building, much smaller projects that are helping them, but aren't a size project that maybe this company is contemplating when they're gonna come in and analyze, you know, potentially.
well, and,
So what you're saying, to be clear, is that, are you aware of any municipalities that you've worked with this, that have engaged a consulting firm such as this?
I am aware of municipalities that have engaged consultants, not this company, but oftentimes through their regular city engineers, for example. They're still bringing in a consultant, they're compensating them in some fashion.
Right, so that's my concern. If it seems too good to be true, that they're gonna do all of this work and all of this legwork and all of this research for us, and then if we're like, just kidding, we don't want solar, you know, they're gonna be like, oh, okay, well, good luck.
Well, they're incentivized to do a huge project too, because
Right.
they're getting 5% of it. They're getting 5% of that project, and so their assessment of what we should do will probably be rather large rather than small. Otherwise, it's not even worth their time, you know?
Right,
So
But it's gotta make financial sense to us though,
Yeah.
too.
right.
Right,
I mean,
yeah,
I'm
right, at
just-
scale, you're right.
Right,
I'm
exactly.
just nervous to enter into an agreement with someone that says no cost to us if we don't choose to go with a
It's right there
project
in
8%.
the Section 3, to where as long as they take that verbiage and put it in the actual contract.
Right.
That says that
Right,
the client shall not pay.
So let's say hypothetically, we do a $500,000, I'm just, don't. $500,000 system, they would get $25,000, for example. At the 5%.
Yeah.
Of that amount, and so that's what we're getting paid, if we did that level, you know, so. Do the math, whatever size you wanna do.
Mhm.
And just for reference, I asked one of the two engineering services that we do regular engineering service with right now, and they have done some small projects, but they're not very comfortable or prepared to do an extensive or comprehensive engineering project for solar yet. They're still moving towards that to provide that kind of expertise in engineering. So that's why I kind of went and made a few calls to find something.
and so we researched this company and know that they're because this has happened to us before on the council. So we know that they're not involved in any litigation. We know that they're not involved in any issues or complaints. That do they come with recommendations?
I did some background, I did some research checking and couldn't find any red flags, anything negative against them. They're a highly rated consulting firm from what I could find, and I did not find any red flags, like I said, so.
Who have they worked with before?
I did not get any references from Corey, my rep.
That's a bad deal, that's a no for me.
Do we have to vote on?
We haven't voted yet, I know, that's a no for me, if you don't have no references,
Yeah,
I can certainly get some, check on them.
well, then we need them.
Seems to me you could do a substitute motion to table pending references for subsequent action.
As far as we know, they've never done one.
All right, there's a substitute motion to table,
second,
and it's been seconded.
Who moved it? I'm sorry.
Greg, Alderman Cruz. All right. I will add one other item, and I didn't bring documentation, but there is solar money in the Inflation Reduction Act, the federal act. And we could look into that as well if the state money has dried up, so keep that in mind and remind me to do that. Is there any discussion on the substitute motion? If not, all those in favor, please say aye. Any opposed? All right, thank you. Good discussion.
So that was an amendment to the original, as I understand it. So we still have the original.
So the original motion is on the floor, assuming it would be defeated. All those in favor of the original motion? All those opposed? They're all opposed.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. We have item 5, a change order. And again, the pricing was described in City Administrator Melton's note. Is there a motion to approve the change order?
So,
Is there a second?
Second.
Questions or discussions on this? Hearing none, it does involve a fair amount of money, so we need a roll call vote.
Alderperson Zaidama,
Yes.
Gravel,
Yes.
West,
Yes.
Tickler,
Yes.
Bruckner,
Yes.
Cruz,
Yes.
Mahaffey,
Yes,
Schlegel.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. And more money, pay request for the same project on your, starting on your pages, 37. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Are there any questions or discussion on the pay request? If not, we do need a roll call vote.
Alderman Tervelt,
Yes.
West,
Yes.
Tickler,
Yes.
Bruckner,
Yes.
Cruz,
Yes.
Mahaffey,
yes,
Schlegel,
Yes.
Zaidama.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right. We do not have attachments for the mowers. Do you wish to tee that up?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I wasn't able to get, all my quotes in. I was hoping to get them, in time for this meeting. I'm still waiting for one vendor. Just to give you a little background, I've mentioned it in my past several reports. There was, one. I've been working on, trying to get into a regular rotation for mowers, because we have several of them. And, we had budgeted one mower in the cemetery budget for this year for their one of their main 48-inch mowers that has a little over 1,500 hours on it. And then in discussions and with the street and parks, public works employees, there's another mower that we 2016 Grasshopper that we purchased used. I'm not sure exactly when we did. That has almost 1,000 hours on it, and it's probably the one that is probably in the worst shape. It's the oldest, so I sought out bids to replace that mower as well, which we would then pay for with fund balance, general fund balance. So I've been trying to get bids together. A lot of information, a lot of options, a lot of different mowers out there. Just so you guys know, the public works employees are not fans of grasshoppers. They do not like them. There's several reasons why. I can get those reasons for you. So I sought bids in everything but grasshoppers, almost, not everything, but looking at Kubota, Exmark, which is the commercial grade brand for Toro, John Deere, and maybe another one. So I hope to bring those back to you now for the next meeting. We're running out of time. We'd like to get some ordered if we can as soon as possible. But the cemetery mower is a little different because we need a fairly large mower with a narrow deck of 48 inches, but with a rear discharge. Well, the only rear discharge out there is Grasshopper that I was able to find with the various vendors I contacted. But they all the other ones sell a 48-inch mulching deck and claim to have enough power to be able to operate through that. So that's the kind of option we'll be looking at the cemetery, because we can't have a side discharge in the cemetery, because then you're just making a big mess on all the grave or headstones. So so that was a bit challenging. So, but because we spent so much time in the summer on these mowers, one of the priorities was for the employees, and that's in ride and comfort. Because in the summertime, the cemetery guys are doing nothing but mowing. So, and it's pretty tough on a back to sit on that mower bouncing through the cemetery. So we're trying to find the best possible mower that's comfortable for our employees. And still do the job efficiently. At a reasonable cost, so. So hoping to have those for you tonight, didn't happen. We're shooting for the next meeting. But I will probably send those out to you as soon as I receive them, just so you have time to look them over and do your own homework if you wish, or contact me with any questions.
I'm gonna say something. There is a committee that was approved in 2020 that I was put on to by the council. And after Lori left, I worked with her before, and as you have taken over, Brian, you have not ever contacted me one time about anything about mowers, equipment, building. There needs to be another person put on because Nick was put on. This council needs to put somebody else on with me. And we are to look at all of these projects. You have not been willing to work with me. I have going to you. And you keep saying, well, I should do this, I should do that, but you never do it. It is time that you do it. You are not doing your duty.
Never respond? Yeah.
And if you don't, if any of you don't believe me, she's got the contract. That was
True.
approved by this council.
Okay, number one, I'm not aware that I'm required to consult a committee of the council. I'm not.
Well,
Did
it was approved by the council.
Okay,
Okay,
we can do that, but your statement that I never contacted you is absolutely false. You're the reason why we bought a Cub Cadet mower for the wastewater treatment plant.
yes, that's
Okay.
because I went to you. You didn't go to me. I went to you because
So,
you told the council that there was 2 places that never contacted you. So I went to those 2 places. The one said, yes, you contacted them. They didn't want to deal with it. The other one told me that they know of, they never got anything from you.
okay,
So I went ahead and looked at what they had, found something, and I went to you. You didn't come to me.
so if this council, if that's the direction this council wants to go into, a committee-based governing body, please direct me to do so.
Those minutes.
Well, that's what was in place. So it's not that we, with all due respect to everyone, it's not that we want to move into that. It's just that we want to get back to what was structured and make sure that it's inclusive with that and not just change the way things are done and then say, well, if you want to move that way, we want to do what should have been being done for the whole duration.
So once
Right.
again, is that a copy of minutes or?
It's a copy of an email, I believe.
Well, and I don't know if we're
Kind of
talking about
run the city.
2 fundamentally different models of government. I just think we're talking about,
Right.
you know, and it depends on the council and whatnot, but if some council members have expertises and something, I don't know the difference between a Cub Cadet or whatnot, but
Right.
then you can help and you can and you can alleviate some of the, you know, Harvey said he went to a couple spots. It
Yeah.
is hard with one person to do all this stuff, and sometimes the
And I-
council can help and advise on stuff when they have expertise in that area. I think that's.
And
not
I would
anything.
think that's why that committee was set up, because like, in this situation, it sounds to me like Harvey was willing, he was able, to take some of the heat off the city administrator's plate, you know? And that's why they were doing it, just to, so that I believe we as a council could get his full information on everything, just as we get the council notes. But yeah, I wondered what happened to that committee also. It just seemed to poof away.
Isn't that called delegation?
All right.
I don't know.
Once
what the
again, do
deal
we have a
is.
date? Do we have minutes for when that's, because that would have been before I was mayor.
It was
might have been
May
clerk.
5th, 2020 is the date on this.
It
that I
was
skipped.
shortly after that date.
Fleet and Facility Advisory Committee.
All right.
Yeah, fleet and facility, because this was around the time that Harvey, we were looking at that building, right?
Right,
Were you doing some designs and it was all kind of tied in together and Mick was.
Mick
making Harvey work.
Mick and I started the cemetery building,
Right,
which hasn't been done yet, and that was approved 3-4 years ago,
What was approved?
the cemetery building,
Yeah.
to put a new cemetery building up.
So when it-
I know funding was transferred to put aside for a cemetery building, but I wasn't aware that there was a motion made to, an action by this council to put up a new building at the cemetery. And I've been around here for 15 years.
Well, you start looking and it's there.
Why didn't we build
All
it
right.
3-4 years ago though?
well, we were.
Because it went on from that to the
cool.
sewer.
No,
Just like the public
sewer
works.
plant, and that never, it got so big that we couldn't afford it, and then we.
no, Harvey, with due
right.
respect of the way I remember, just really quick, Mayor, I remember this, it's because we hadn't landed on what building we were doing. And we did not want to invest in that. We had it, I think you're, I think you're right, Harvey, I think we did approve it, but I thought we were in a waiting game on that. Until we decided if we were gonna do a monolith south of town, or if we were gonna, you know what I mean? So it didn't make sense for us at the time until we made that other building decision. And so here we are, though. I mean, it's a good point. We hadn't figured out that building decision, and so
We approved,
probably should
it.
revisit it.
We approved to do a building.
Yeah.
Then somehow we got tracked off and buy the township building.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we got tracked off and doing building at the sewer plant.
At the south side, yeah. Okay, that all
I
sounds
think we're getting
reasonable.
way off. the
Yeah,
subject.
I think you're exactly right. We should, city will take home this, the Fleet and Facility Advisory Committee somewhere in 2020, early summer, that'd be, okay, so personally, right before I became involved as the clerk, so that's why I have no memory of that. But we will take that back and, represent the mowers. Item 8. We're talking about some electrical vehicle charging stations, and here we do have some references to Oregon and Polo who have done something similar. But again, you wanted to bring something tonight and you didn't get it.
Yeah, kind of the same deal, and if we need to move that into a committee too, that's fine, I work at your direction.
Before we jump, I know for a fact that the governor said the state will be providing funds for electrical charging stations. So I don't think there's any reason for us to spend $10,000-12,000 on something that's 2035 as far as cars being mandatory. But I do know for a fact state does provide. State would.
Can you provide me with that fact?
I'll dig it.
Sure. Sure.
These ones that, people pay to charge.
Yes.
How much do they charge, or do they pay? Like, how long would it take something like this to get paid off?
Well, depending, there's kind of two levels of chargers that we can put up. One's kind of like a quick charge, like analogy would be you stop in a gas station and get a couple gallons of gas to go on to the next stop. That they can stop, charge it like for a half hour and get a little charge out of it. And then there's the next level up, which is an 80 amp charger, which basically, it would be kind of like an overnight thing, or somebody going to work and plugging it in and a charge throughout the day. It's more of a long-term, type charger. So in either sense, or in either, solution, from what I've learned is municipalities and even private property owners and businesses who have these chargers like Target and stuff, charge anywhere from 15 cents to 30 cents above the kilowatt rate. So they're actually, and some also charge a fee because these units are, self-containing completely. They're wireless, they're hooked directly to cellular Wi-Fi, and people can pay right on site with a credit card, Apple Pay, just not cash, and or through an app, and pay right there on the at the site, and then charge it for as long as they want, and we can charge a fee. We can charge just a user fee. There's just a couple different options that the council can take to charge. I think I was at a administrator meeting here last week and talked to the city administrator in Oregon, and they've been there they've had their charger in for about a year, and haven't had a lot of use out of it. And he jokingly said, I think they made 82 cents profit on it. And I'm like, well, yeah, well,
Right? I mean, but-
no, I think it's just above and beyond I guess I should have clarified that, but he was jokingly saying that his point was that, it's a new product, that they weren't doing it for the profit, but they were just doing it as a public service and to get people to stop in town.
I didn't know how to tell, I don't know anybody who would like to, so I didn't know, I looked it up, and from what I could tell online, there's only 4 registered in Morrison.
Yeah, I'm not sure how many are in Morrison, but
We already had 2 electric vehicle charging stations.
Oh, where? I know one's-
Cunis has a free, and
Free one.
Dairy.
And DQ, yeah.
I know the one at Cunis, they can't do, test or.
Yes. There's a different model, isn't
Yeah,
there, or a
there's
different
ones.
standard?
I don't know what Dairy Queen has. But yeah, there are different ones to do different types of vehicles.
right, but
I think,
go ahead.
well, I just think, I think Kevin, you're right, like, we're not there yet, but I think. The idea is Illinois is throwing, I feel like we're a little early on this. Illinois is throwing a ton of money at this. 500 million or something. And so. But Brian, you brought up, like, it's not necessarily like making money off of it, they're parking out downtown, maybe they walk around with a sandwich somewhere or something
We're
like that.
staying at an Airbnb.
Or stay for the overnight deal. I think this stuff is coming. I mean, there's about 1 million vehicles on the road. I think it's too early. I think we could wait and probably get some money from the state more easily. Like, let's just see how this, EV, they thought it was gonna explode. It's like it's not as much of an explosion. I feel like we could wait a little bit and still get one of these relatively quickly, but you can keep educating us on.
Yeah,
it,
exactly.
you
I
know?
think that's 2 things I've learned. If you use the app, you can look and say, hey, there's a charging station in Morrison and it's 5 miles from here.
Right.
That brings somebody into town.
Yeah,
That's an
Yeah.
if. The other thing is I did talk to our rep from ComEd and I asked what they would do. And their program is barely getting off, but they would basically set up the charging station and meter it back. So it'd be kind of neutral.
Right.
But they're not there yet. Last I talked to him was, well, this is going several weeks ago, but they're not there yet. And these other companies like
Yeah.
Polo and Oregon have used are there, but yeah. So I think, is it fair to say, watch the space and we'll bring some more information
I
to the
think it's
council?
super intriguing because I think that
I appreciate
the
that.
catalyst is
Yeah.
coming and it's a phenomenal, it's a
Yeah.
phenomenal thing to offer citizens and visitors,
and,
you know?
and we're at Route 30 also, I mean, people passing through.
All right, thank you for a good, healthy conversation. As I said, please, watch this space. So 2 things coming up for just FYI, you have a presentation on the strategic plan. We did have our initial Zoom meeting and the PowerPoint is attached. There will be some focus groups coming up. And I think we've already asked for, names. We want to make sure certain people are included. Do you have anything else to add, please?
Just that the mayor and I have our first basically development meeting to develop the survey this Wednesday afternoon. So to timely move through this whole process, I don't know how quickly after that meeting on Wednesday, but in a fairly timely manner, we will be establishing the survey questions for the strategic plan. To what extent you want to establish those questions is up to you guys. You're the council and I can bring, I don't know that we and if you want to, we can, but I don't know that we have to have the council approve those questions. Because a lot of the questions are standard community strategic plan type questions. But if you guys are interested in your own questions or wanted to get the public's input on certain issues, please share those questions or those thoughts with the mayor or I, so we can gear some questions towards that. So unless I hear differently, we'll try and move along with that very timely. But I don't want to get into a strategic plan and have this council say, well, we didn't ask the right questions. So that's why I'm asking for everybody's input is to get your questions, to get the information you want to know. It involves, putting some, some time and some thought into what you really want to see out of this plan. But please, if you have any ideas, I've already received some for questions and also with the focus groups. The focus groups are basically people within our community, whether they're business owners, civic employees, residents, community leaders, and otherwise just community stakeholders will be part of those focus groups. And those focus groups get to, basically, it's like a group interview by the governmental Center for Governmental Studies at NIU. So where each of you may be either on a focus group or I hope is individually meeting with and being interviewed by NIU. So if you have ideas, I mean, there's a few obvious choices throughout our community that we all probably agree needs to be on or in one of those focus groups. But if you have somebody specifically that you would like to see somehow involved, please share that with the mayor and I.
So sounding like only on a city-wide scale, what the Morrison on the Move or whatever, I think somebody brought that up last time, the WIU did for us 5 years ago. And, so Brian, I haven't had a chance to look at it, but you have a list of the questions that are kind of already baked in by what they do here. You know what I mean?
I don't yet.
Okay, so when you give those,
Yes.
yeah, give those to us and then we'll have a better idea of what's being covered and what isn't.
Oh, for sure.
And how else we could ask
We're
other
not
questions.
redundant.
For sure. Okay.
We need to know what the standard questions are ahead of time.
Right.
And we can go from there.
That will work too.
Okay, you have to ask for them or you're gonna give them to us?
I'll give them to you once I get like a sample, whatever, I'll share them with everybody. For sure.
We gotta ask you specifically, or you bring.
No, I will email them out to y'all.
Yeah, that way we're just not asking redundant questions. Right?
Yeah, right.
And then with regard to the budget, now is budget season. City Administrator Melton put out a question. Do you want to have a special budget meeting? Are you okay with the current process where we expose a draft 2 or 3 times, or at least once, before final action? It seemed to work last year. Do you want special session? Any thoughts on that?
What was done in the past.
So
You get a draft, city administrator prepares a draft, exposes it. We have an open Q&A in the context of a regular council meeting. Couple of changes here and there. You get additional information as to what revenues are expected and what expenses are expected. And I think it's at least 2 times in draft and then 1 time for final council approval. But we've always done it within a regular city council meeting. Now, other towns have special sessions just for the budget. Other towns have committees of the council for the budget. That's not our model. And if, I think we put it on the agenda tonight to get, you know, if you want to move from our traditional model to something different, now's the time to suggest that.
when I was first on the council, we sat down with all the council members. And we went through it all and did it that way. Then it got changed to what we're doing now.
And that was a different time too, Harvey, because we didn't have the money. Not that we have a lot of it now, but it was, there was harder decisions to make then. In the last several years, it's been more status quo type stuff, funding priorities. But that's why I asked you guys, what do you want to do? What are your expectations? Do you want to go back? And maybe just do it that way every couple of years where we sit down and have a workshop and go through the line items and talk about more specifically priorities. Or the way we've done it in the past several years, as the mayor mentioned, just during a couple regular meetings, status quo type stuff.
If you do it separate, you still have to do the.
Still a
separate
public
meetings.
meeting.
Well, of
Yeah.
the draft, and then take action.
Well, there's a process where you finally have to get to where the council approves a draft for posting. And then it has to be posted for, I believe, 10 to 14 days, one of those 2 time periods.
So you're gonna have 3 meetings regardless of whether you do it.
Well, at least 2.
There.
Yeah, at least 2, but I hope to have well, hopefully by the next meeting, a first rough draft that you can look at of the budget. And then maybe if you wanted to do a workshop, have that between the 2 March meetings. And do it that way, or either way, I still hope to get you a draft sooner than later to, you know, because yeah, we have to approve it by the end of April. We only have 2 meetings. After tonight, we'll have 4 meetings.
I want to go on record that don't want a special meeting.
Appreciate that.
Anybody want a special meeting?
I mean,
And
if
you don't have to make a decision
Sunday
tonight.
afternoon, 5 o'clock.
No. I
You
can't
can
make-
call or leave an email. So
They
you
did
know.
it in closing.
And if you don't want to do a public meeting, I would be happy to do it. If anybody's interested in sitting down and going through it in more detail and not do a workshop, I'd be more than happy to sit down with you and go through it individually.
Regular council.
Let's just do it the regular.
Yeah, okay. We appreciate that. And again, if you have thoughts, if you want special call, leave an email, what have you. I always say, you know, we're not lighting cigars with $100 bills, but we have a solid financial position. We should be very proud of that. And that's your stewardship. So thank you again. Oh, okay. I want to bring an item for discussion that is not on the agenda. It's just for your information only. There is discussion of using an existing building that's for sale as an event center. And as such, they would want to serve alcohol there. We would have to expand the number of liquor licenses. And if it were an event center, we might want to choose to create a new category called a banquet license. So this would be a place that's not open every day. They're not pouring drinks every day. And if they're not pouring drinks every day, they could not apply for a gaming license. So this, I want to just put this on your radar. If this happens and if this person wishes to have a liquor license, we could, one, expand the number of regular pour licenses, knowing that this person would probably never apply for gaming and it wouldn't be approved because there are churches adjacent. Or two, define a category called a banquet license for liquor, in which the attorney could help us draft that language as well. Nothing's happened yet, but I just wanted to put that on your radar. Because all of, in my short tenure, we have expanded the number of licenses, generally without a whole lot of resistance. I do believe we're saturated as far as gaming. And if this were a banquet hall and he wanted gaming, he'd never make any money gaming because it's not open every day. So just being open and honest with you, this is on the radar, and if the transactions go through, we may be acting on it sooner, or it may be one of those things that's just another rumor and it's not going to happen. So,
Does the state allow for that? Because I know they have to also get a state liquor license when we as municipality give them a pour license. Does the state have a special category?
State does not have a special category. Any entity or individual that has a pour license can apply for a gaming license. State.
But for
So the city wouldn't have direct control over that. And I think the mayor's comment was driven partly from the conversation he and I had, where practically speaking, if you have what we'll call a banquet caterer type license where you're only open periodically for an event, most of the gaming companies that bring the machines in are not going to look at you as an establishment because they can't generate the revenue that they're looking to generate.
But you
But
could,
to answer your question correctly, that's a decision at the state level. If they have a poor license, then they can go to the state.
No, my question was
preclude
not
them
for,
from having a banquet license here as well.
It wouldn't directly
It
preclude
wouldn't
them.
directly, okay.
I think all the person I happy was specific about liquor.
just
Right.
liquor, not gaming. Does the state, because even, we can give out all the pour licenses we want, but they still have to get a state liquor license from the state of Illinois to be able to serve alcohol.
And if
So-
you give them a banquet caterer license, they would get a license from the state, assuming they don't like qualify.
Just the same kind of across the board. Got it.
Our
Thank
code-
you. That was my
That's
question.
so.
Appreciate
I do
that.
want to
Thank you.
expand it to one point, because this is important to the building you're talking about. There is a state law that limits liquor establishments within a certain distance of churches.
Yeah.
This particular structure, I believe, has two that are within that limit.
But there's
That
exceptions.
state statute, however, allows buildings like that to have a liquor license if it's not the principal business carried on in that location.
Let's see.
So it can't be your principal business. You could never put a tavern next to the church
Right.
today. But if it's a event center, wedding reception, and it's not, let's say liquor is not the principal business, statute allows that as an exception. That feeds into the gaming conversation, because if someone wanted to put gaming in there, it's gonna start generating, they have to be able to sell liquor to keep their gaming license. Now, question whether it's their principal source of business.
Right.
But we also, not we, the council would still have to approve of the gaming license as well.
No, the city does not approve of gaming license.
Yeah.
They approve of
The city.
Just liquor.
It basically is a.
It's almost automatic, yeah.
State statute specifically prohibits municipalities from regulating gaming.
Well-
You can regulate the liquor license, but you can't control the gaming side if they don't like follow. That's why, again, here, it's a practically would not be able to, it's not a pure legal prohibition.
Well, we, not to say that we've changed as a council, but in the past, yes, we have. I mean, those people that were here, we've leveraged those liquor licenses in the past, looking through that into the lens of the video game, right? And as our only sole source of power in terms of trying to determine.
Right. It's the only
Yeah, yeah.
sense of control that we have over that.
It's important to remember too, that a liquor license is a privilege, they go year to year. If you were to create a category, and we call it banquet, I talked about banquet catering type event license. and you became uncomfortable with how they were operating, you're under no obligation to renew the license. And you can reduce it when the license is available.
But you,
Isn't that good to know?
and they could,
Oh, yeah, you control the number of licenses.
Because historically, I remember a situation where someone I think it was open gaming. And that's when we, boom, cut them down. And then it's per on demand. We don't have a certain number. It's, you gotta complete your case kind of a thing. So people could be individually, I guess the thought was, individually either approved or denied. Based on what the thought was they would be doing. So I don't think currently as a city that we say, okay, there's 10 liquor licenses available within our city. Oops, 10 are filled. Sorry, we gotta wait till one drops off. It's, we have the ability to ebb
can
and
make
flow
11.
with the numbers, correct?
Yeah, and that, again, that's the council, and we have done that at least twice in my short tenure.
So now we wait until this
Exactly.
develops a little bit
So-
farther and then we can discuss. it
Appreciate
more.
that comment. I just wanted to throw that out there so you don't get caught off guard, especially by somebody on the street or something like that.
and I've had several calls with this question, and so that's why the mayor brought it up tonight. Kind of feel you out like we do a lot of times consensus wise. If this is a possibility for,
We don't know.
Well,
And we don't have enough information.
But I think that they're trying obviously to
Maybe,
get
yeah.
information though, which is why we're talking about it
Right.
now. Because to
Exactly.
inform their decision of moving forward or not, if you can and can't get a liquor license or a banquet, that would go a long ways for me of going forward on a business plan or not.
Right.
And so as a council, I mean, I don't know if we have to outwardly state the word support or against, but I'll say outwardly, I don't have a problem with the banquet liquor license aspect of it that the mayor said. And taking into account what our attorney has said about the gaming licenses.
I agree with you.
Appreciate
As a
that.
city,
Thank you.
it's,
I would
we should
support
give
it
them the
100%.
opportunity.
Okay, Maggie has some experience in gaming and
Could they make another clause in their gaming, their city gaming licenses? You know, they have to pay per unit.
Mhm.
Could they make a clause saying that if you're a banquet center, that could go up to, say,
No.
something else? No, that can pay about.
You can establish the max with a minimum fee per terminal you're to
Just get
charge.
our annual check.
Can't distinguish
Yeah.
Between different places.
Like, I don't care.
Okay.
And if someone's gotta be the bad guy, let it be the state. But we
Yeah.
give out the licenses. to
I agree.
everyone, So,
that's personally what I feel.
yeah.
I don't know, but anyway, okay. All right. I appreciate that conversation. There are no details, but like I said, I don't want you to get caught off guard if you hear a rumor on the street or what have you. I think we're moving in the right direction. At this point, I would entertain a motion to move into executive session. Second, all in favor?
I,
Okay. Thank you all. You start your recording, yeah, you can. Should mute us. Did I click something?
Wait a second, no, I just went to sleep.
Oh, you. All right.
There's a thing where that's on.
It's just dangling, yeah.
That's,
That does it. Okay,
we're good.
we're back in open meeting. We have before you revisions to the personnel manual. They are in underscore and dash and color to show the changes. We can do this a couple of ways. Would you like to go through each change individual? Or would you like to accept all of the proposed changes? Or would you like to do some hybrid of the above?
Favor of going through the whole, doing the whole thing at once.
Is that a motion?
I make that motion.
There is a motion to accept all of these suggested changes to the personnel manual as presented. Is there a second?
Second.
Now, there is opportunity for discussion, for amendment, if you wish. This has been exposed, I would remind you. It's been exposed. Many of these changes are suggestions or results of union negotiations or driven by statute changes that we are obligated to take. Further
And-
questions,
And
discussions,
reviewed by our city attorney.
and reviewed by council.
Most important.
Of course. Are you happy to?
We'll see if he's. Hearing no discussion. All those in favor of the omnibus changes to the personnel manual, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. I would, let's look at the position of the chief of police. He has resigned effective April 30th, which is the end of his contract. City Hall believes that's a reasonable stop-off point and would ask for a motion to accept his resignation as written.
So moved.
Second.
Is there any further discussion on that? May I ask the minutes to reflect that council is accepting the resignation with regrets and best wishes for his future, understanding the position he was in. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? You have a posting for the position of chief of police. There was some discussion on residence requirement. I think the way to proceed is to move the posting as presented and then move to make amendments if you wish. So is there a motion to approve the posting?
So moved.
Second.
All right, it's on the table for discussion. You may offer substitutes or amendments or have further discussions about any part of this posting.
Make this easy on the area.
I would,
It's just easier to go this way. Okay.
I would like to make an amendment that we remove the language that says that they're allowed to live within 25 miles of the police department and that be changed currently to required to live within city limits. So I make that
Okay, so you're,
amendment, a motion.
the person who made the original motion has to agree to an amendment. Is that right? Yes, okay. Who made the original motion? Are you amenable to amendment? Okay,
Vern made the motion.
right, okay, so he's agreeable to an amendment. There is an amendment offered. Is there a second to that? And we can clean up that wording.
Second.
Okay, so I would suggest that sentence that starts City of Morrison residency. Delete the next three words. Required
Is required, just.
is required, yeah, sorry, that, yeah, say is required, period. Delete the following to the end of the sentence, and then compliance would stay there. City of Morrison residency is required, period. Compliance to this residency requirement shall be within a period of time to be determined. Further discussion on that amendment?
Well, I think it flies against what we just heard about all of the perks and whatnot that need to be offered to police chiefs and other officers. You're required to live inside the town.
As a supplement, did we have a ad running per se for officers also?
Posted, they're posted,
Yeah,
and
it's-
we're advertising.
They throw this up. Is it legal to buff up the application process by saying possible bonus?
Yeah, to repost.
Well, it's not unlawful. The issue you always have is when you start talking about what the wages and benefits you're gonna offer officers, that's a subject of collective bargaining. So you do have to involve the FOP in some of that.
That's why I say,
Also the chief.
you got
yeah,
two unions in town, if you're offering anything to one.
You can offer relocation expense, move to town. That's what-
Well, and to that, to Tim's point earlier, I mean, and I've been saying the contract thing, but this chief of police is an opening for us. It is. It's not at the end of a contract because we're refilling a position to put fresh eyes at this and see if we can maybe incentivize, you know, we were talking earlier though, maybe we can wait, but now would be one of those times, as Tim said, if you gotta constantly be looking to improve, it's an opportunity for us to look at this and potentially improve it. That isn't going against the contract. It isn't blowing up a contract.
Right, well, this posting on Tim has the salary range listed on the posting for,
Which is required in Illinois law.
it is required. Seems almost counterintuitive if we're not supposed to talk about. wage or-
Well, the police
Well,
chief is
the
not,
range you want it to be, you have to post it.
A range, okay, gotcha.
and the police chief is a separate employment agreement. He's not part of any FOP agreement, so.
Correct, but I took the question to be officer, not just chief.
Yeah. Oh, well,
Okay.
we're talking about,
Just checking.
yeah, yeah.
I mean,
A lot of
I'm fine.
companies are offering bonuses.
On the private side, that's slowing down. But in the police, fire, and even some of that public works. A while left.
if we already got it posted, I mean, let's just.
That's,
This says.
it's been posted for police officers.
The
not
officers
posted
are
for-
posted.
Oh,
This-
okay.
The chief is
Right.
not
Well, I
posted.
like to, I'm ready to vote on it then.
Could you say something, additional benefits or something?
Something really special might apply.
I think Alderman West is correct. Let's vote on the specific amendment. And then we could offer up an additional amendment while the original motion is still on the table.
It's killing me.
You can
Yeah.
change the posting in a month, I mean, put it out there now, and see what it's all.
Okay. Further discussion? All right. All those in favor of the amendment on the residence requirement, say aye.
I,
Any opposed?
No,
Boy, you're really messing with me, young. Okay, thank you.
All right, we have a posting that's been amended. The amendment was approved. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Yeah, we have to vote on the overall amended posting. Please say aye. Any opposed? One opposed.
no, I'm not opposed.
You're.
I just didn't say anything.
Oh, okay.
He took me by surprise by saying, just say aye.
No, he's not. No, he's not.
I don't want anybody to tell me what to do.
Yeah. Finally, is there a motion to approve an amended employment agreement between the city and the city administrator as presented? Hearing no motion to approve a revised employment agreement, it dies. At this point, and as always, a motion to adjourn is in order.
So moved. Second.
Any opposed? All right, we are adjourned at 8:48. Thank you all.
Where's Mike?
I don't know. He might be a male. Or
San
wherever.
Diego.
Oh, he goes to San Diego. That's like his second home.
Nice.
One of these I noticed needs a notary.
I
I don't know if I have to stand in front of.
No, I'm here.
Are you a notary? You are? Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, now I need to remember that, just in case.
Yeah.
Well, the lawyer's a notary too, he does all
That's.
On his own street.
Yeah, but it's like.
that. I have a call for church tomorrow morning at 9:30, so I'll be in really late mornings, closer to noon.
Okay.
You're in the office tomorrow? We can do-
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Catch up and then debrief and
But this.
Yeah,
one-
yeah, yeah.
whatnot.
Yeah.
Cool.
So the Barbie Association. Yes, I think that. Well, there's. Facebook page, you got.